every month. I wasn't thinking about coaching. I was on the training field every day doing sessions. I wasn't in the club every single day doing things. I had no right to be a successful coach. It's actually, to be fair, in some ways, it won. Obviously, because of Peter owning Valencia and him investing in the projects in Manchester and Salford, I felt partly that I did it because he asked me to do it, and as part of an elite, not allegiance, but like a loyalty that I said, okay, I'll do it. And partly a little bit of my contract with England was coming to the end 5 months. Partly my Sky contract was coming to the end after 5 months. Partly a bit of selfishness in terms of, let's give it a go type thing on 5 months. What can I lose? I don't feel I lost anything, even though people would people would throw at me all the time. But I made massive mistakes. It was simple mistakes, not getting rid of players that weren't committed, that wanted to leave the club. I was a 40-year-old English person who didn't speak the language, didn't understand the league, didn't understand the players, didn't understand Valencia, all the rest of the things. And surrounding myself by 3 coaches who, again, were young and didn't understand those things. 3 of us out of the 4 didn't speak Spanish. It's just nonsense decisions, to be fair. So I made massive mistakes. And I'd sat there on television, to be fair, judging, players and systems and all the rest of it for 2 or 3 years, but got to the point where I actually lost my confidence for about the last, we'll say, 6 weeks of the job, to the point where I was like spinning top. Didn't honestly, which player shall I pick, which system shall I play, all over the place. And I have to say, from that point of view, it was through the bad decisions that I made, but I should have said no to the job. I should never have taken the job. And I've planned everything in my life, everything. What I'm doing this year, what I'm going to think of doing the next 3 years, what I'm having for tea tomorrow night. And the instinctive decisions that I've made, opening a nightclub, opening a restaurant in Manchester, taking the Valencia job, they've all failed. 3 or 4, every time I've made an instinctive decision that's not got thought, that's a little bit sort of ego-driven, that, of course I can do it, failed. And it's a lesson, it's a massive lesson. Those things have happened to me in the last 2 or 3 years, but I'm fine for it in terms of, it's a good thing. I feel like it's a good thing for me now. So the idea, will I go back into management now? How? Why would I? There are thousands and hundreds and thousands of coaches who are thinking about their job every single minute of every day, and Gary Neville just rocks up tomorrow and says, yeah, I'll be a coach. No. Yeah.
Management is obviously a brutal business, Roy, and Gary's proof positive of that. And what you've been through your management career, from the unbelievable success the first year in Sunderland, these things never end well. We think of that moment with Ireland in Lille, and nothing can ever get better, and still it doesn't end well. Do you ever think the way Gary's thinking, it's just not worth the hassle? Or are you addicted to management?
I wouldn't say I'm addicted to management, but I definitely want to have another crack off it, from whatever the time it is. Sunderland, which is brilliant. Ipswich, obviously there's some positives there. Obviously that left on a disappointment. Loved the stuff with Ireland. Enjoyed a few months with Forest, even with Martin. But I definitely want to have another go off it. But I also live in the real world. I don't think Real Madrid will be calling me. I think I've got to weigh all that up, and unless it's the right opportunity, in the meantime, I'll just back away from it and see what comes up. But hopefully with something come up, because there's something, it's in my makeup at this moment in time that I definitely want another crack off it and see where it takes us.
You haven't really spoken, I don't think, about the end with Ireland since it finished. How did you find out, yourself and Martin O'Neill, that you were going to lose your job?
Listen, you know these things. On the last game over the weekend when we were away, listen, you hear stuff. You kind of smell stuff. You just sense something's coming. But again, all this idea of losing your job and the sack and finish, all that stuff doesn't frighten me. That's part of the industry we're in. Anytime I've even lost my job or I've left a job, I've never been that upset. I just thought, this is something you might be a bit angry, upset by it if you think you've been badly treated. Myself with the Irish job, I loved every minute of it. And again, instead of kind of going, I think we probably deserve, I do think we deserved another crack off it, but we had some brilliant years, and strange enough, people still said to me, sorry, it kind of didn't work out with Ireland, and I go, it did. I thought it was brilliant. I thought we had 2 proper campaigns, we qualified, okay, we got to a playoff, and I think if every Irish manager had done that, Irish football would be in a decent place. Towards the end, when you're losing one or two players, and whatever about myself, I definitely, there's no doubt Martin was harshly treated. There's no doubt about that. But obviously, when there's a lot of negativity, a lot of spin out there, and also I knew when our wages were eventually when Dennis O'Brien stopped paying our wages, I said to Martin at the time, I went, as soon as we hit any sort of sticky patch now, we'd definitely be gone. And when we were missing the players we were, trust me, and I've watched Irish football since I was a kid, Ireland are going to hit a sticky patch because there's real lack of quality at the moment. Never mind if you're missing Seamus or Robbie Brady, one or two important players, you're thinking we are up against it. So when we had that sticky patch, you're hoping that people will stick with you. But 9 times out of 10, people will panic and they will make a decision that you might think is unfair. But that, again, I kind of keep repeating myself, but that's life, that's the industry we're in. But the stuff we had with Ireland, and I still miss the Irish job. I loved it. I loved the buzz of the games. I thought the players. I love working with Martin. I think Martin, brilliant manager, a really good guy. Made some great days. Jesus, I've been very fortunate in my career, but the 1 or 2 games you've mentioned there were up there with a lot of the highlights in my career. Especially when it's your country, it was brilliant, the trips we had.
Does that surprise you? Because I think I've heard you saying before that it's all about playing, that the joy is in the playing, that actually having the night of Robbie Brady's goal in Leo can actually match.
Yeah, but I had to make a conscious decision even when I came back, and obviously Martin, after my kind of dealings with Ireland. So when I got I kind of was a bit of a conscious decision in my head to go and listen, try and enjoy the good days a bit more, because when I was a player certainly, and you are in the zone and you're focused and there's pressure and listen, it is hard to kind of let yourself go, and because of my makeup and personality, I kind of had to keep a front up anyway, because I was this kind of machine or whatever you want to call it. So when we were in Ireland and we had the good days, Jesus, they were brilliant. Like the Bosnia, these games, Germany, and Martin, a good guy with the staff. Jesus, very lucky. I don't look back at any sort of regret and go, again, I honestly think we should have been kept on for another campaign. But again, I think with the wages situation we now see with the FAI, I knew we'd be under the cosh when the FAI were carrying. Again, I don't know Martin's contract, but I know I was on a good deal. Any sort of chance to say, no, I was. Listen, I was on a good deal, Jesus. Rightly so. You're under the cosh, and towards the end with the games we were struggling with, we couldn't score a goal. We're not daft, you know. A lot of my friends, obviously into soccer, and they would say to us, "I was tough last night. You didn't play well." You go, "I know, I was watching it. You know, I'm watching the same games as the fans. We're not thinking. You're not seeing." But I think what irritated me towards the end when people said, I still thought the players were giving everything. I didn't feel for 1 minute going, I think we've lost the group. We were losing, players were injured, and because this was a new campaign, we were trying young players, and people should have had the same attitude as us. We all want to win football matches, but Ireland at the time, we said, we just have to take our medicine. We just have to get through the next few months until the proper World Cup campaign starts, because basically we signed our contracts to stay on for that. Yeah. But we were there for that weekend, and listen, you hear a thing, and I think Martin was harshly treated, of course I think that, but we'll survive. We're big boys. Life goes on. It's the name of the game.
You mentioned the kind of noise around it. Had they lost the dressing room was one of the things kind of in the ether, and then also one of the other things, Roy, it'd be good to get your take on.
I have to say it.
Well, actually, go on that first then. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. No, you're dead right. But that's always the talk anyway. Listen, we see with other managers, a manager loses his job. Listen, if you're not winning football matches, you're going to put yourself under pressure. I get that, of course. But this idea, I think the one thing that kept us going, actually, I always felt with Ireland, and even when I played, people always thought the Irish spirit is great. And that can only take you so far. You know, in certain games, top international matches, you need quality. And every game, and even go back to when I played, everything was a chore for Ireland because, but listen, to whatever way we play, we don't keep the ball well enough, blah, blah, blah. That's another long story. But the drive and the spirit can only keep you going so far. But I think the Irish players, as I said, when we left the job, I had no bitterness towards the players going, they're down tools in us. They didn't try. Our last game was, I think, Denmark away, and we drew 0. If anything, the players were unbelievable. After the game, I was delighted with the players. Were we delighted with the quality? No, we rode our luck. But we rode our luck in games that we won. We beat Germany here. I guarantee Germany scored the first goal. They probably beat us by 10. You know, but we stayed in the game. We got a goal. We got an late equaliser in Germany. Brilliant. Players were fighting the cause. But like I said to you then, you lose with Ireland. It's not as if you lose one. It's maybe England. Certain countries can carry a few losses. With Ireland, you lose 1, 2 important players. You're up against it. And the bigger picture for Ireland, and it's a big concern for everyone, is the players now who aren't playing in the Premier League, who aren't playing for any of the big teams. Ultimately, when you play international football, that does catch up with you. Now, Ireland can still overachieve, and they've had a decent start to this campaign, and it wouldn't surprise me if they won tomorrow night. But when you keep going, eventually you will kind of hit a brick wall when a few players are missing, and your lack of quality will go against you. But the players, I couldn't. And I know there was stuff towards the end about me supposed to having words with players. You have words with players all the time. That's the name of the game as well. My job again when I went with Martin, it was not to be this quiet guy in the background. And people would say, why would I do the media and stuff? Because Martin would ask me. Martin would say, would you do the press conference today? I've done it the last 3 days. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. No, if they said never again do the media, no problem, it's no big deal. Certainly not an ego trip for that. But the players certainly, I felt, gave it their all. And I really couldn't fault them. Was there 1 or 2 towards the end? And when you've been with players for a number of years, and because there's a shortage of players, I did feel some of the medical staff were probably pandering to some of the players. That would irritate me.
Okay.
You know, when you're speaking to players who aren't injured, who didn't want to train, there's a new trend, and not the Irish, there's a new trend amongst footballers at clubs now. I had a little bit of Forest, and particularly 1 or 2 with Ireland. They're on a programme, you know, and their programme is they don't play and they don't train. It's great. So they turn up for Ireland, and you go, well, you're actually, the medical staff said you're fit to yeah, but I'm going to do something back in the gym, or I'm going to have a dip in the pool. But would you not train? I don't know, put your boots on and just get involved in the 9v9 or 10v10. So that bit at the end, but everything, the usual stuff, then people go running to the media, they all have pals in the media, everything, as usual, is exaggerated or a pack of lies. But I look back at the time I had with Martin in Ireland. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was a brilliant job. I got great job satisfaction, and I was proud to be involved with them. But as I said, we move on.
I thought the picture was fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought it was a couple of lollipops away from being a cracker. Their arms were just there, weren't they?
But that was the picture of the after the Italian game.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Are you?
There you go. Just all it needs. Just the
Do you? I know
I
you
don't know
said.
if it's who's that hand on my head? But it's great. But football can bring you back down to earth, because after the game, listen, it was brilliant, and we thought we'd lost it, I think, when Wes missed the chance.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere, brilliant. Listen, obviously fantastic, and I had that as a player as well. Brilliant. But then people drag you back down, because I remember after the game we're going back, and there's a bit of a sing-song, lads having a few pints, of course. And I remember Ollie texted me, Solskjaer, 1 or 2 people would get hold of my number, unfortunately, and he would text me. And he said, great results. I remember reading the thing, and he went, it's always great when you beat the Italian reserves. And I went, you bastard. Didn't know me. And there we are thinking, Ollie's a good guy, you know? Dragging us down. Obviously the Italians made a few changes. They'd already qualified, but that was brilliant.
Do you class Martin as a friend?
Yeah, brilliant man. Really a lot of time for Martin. Brilliant guy. A lot of time for Martin. Honestly, in the industry we're in, and I'm sure the same for you. There's a bit of dog eat dog, and everyone looking after themselves and surviving in the game. I get all that, but I found Martin, even when things toward the end, he'd fight your corner for your contracts. I don't mean for like Seamus and Gups and people like that. Right. No, I have a lot of time for Martin, and again, I think the treatment of Martin towards the end, by a lot of the sections from the Irish media, it was obviously certainly personal, whatever you say, and it was nasty, because he's a good guy, and there's not many good guys left in football, let me tell you.
And he very much obviously fought your corner as well in those last couple of months when there were those issues, which, look, everyone's heard the Stephen Ward WhatsApp about the Harry Arter and John Walters issue.
Oh yeah.
Like,
do you want me to get started on that?
Well, it's a lovely story.
Like, when you hear that, you go, fair enough, that's what happened. I don't think it was an issue. I don't see why you'd think it was an issue.
When I have issues with any players, again, I don't even think Wardy was there. But
No, he wasn't.
No, but I give an example of when you're working with certain players who are playing at a certain level. I think John Walters for the last 2 or 3 years, because I know he's on the circuit now, isn't he? He's a good talker, John. John hadn't kicked the ball for the last 2 or 3 years, but does a lot of talking. It's amazing. Imagine if he had a good career.
But he's still in the squad.
Harry Arthur's now obviously was at Cardiff, went on loan there, got relegated. Wardy. I don't think Wardy can get in the Stoke team at the moment. Stoke were bottom of the league. So I don't know, maybe at a point, I don't know.
Would you class them as friends?
Does any part of it, though, when you look at, say, so John Walters is in that camp and he's in that situation where at club level he doesn't really have to train, his body can't take training, comes into Ireland camp, that's relayed to the medical staff. There again, he can do 1 session out of 3. That's kind of modern football, and that you may have to change your ways.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. This is the danger of the game. Don't get me started on John. I tell you, I've worked with John Walters. Talks a good game. Imagine if he had a good CV. Imagine if he won a trophy.
Well, he went on to have a good career as a professional.
Sorry?
He went on to have a good career as a professional.
He done okay. And the games he was fit for with Ireland, he done well, I have to say. But towards the end, when players are turning up and creating stuff, do me a favour. So you're defending John. You know John well?
John has done some work with us, yeah.
Have you? I bet he has, yeah.
As you say, like you talk about that Bosnia night. John Walters was the one who scored the goals.
Yeah. How many years ago was that? So is he going to live off that? Like a certain player scored against Holland. You live off that for the next 20, 30 years. Listen, I know all about John Walters. I know all about him.
Are you going to tell us?
Bluffer. Again, talks a good game. And then there's the circuit, of course, there's all the circuit stuff. Goes on the TV, how harshly he was treated by me. He's crying on the TV, family situation. He's the only one who's... Don't do me a favour. Not kick the ball for Burnley for 2 or 3 years. It's be driving the train, be on the radio. You know what I mean? Why not lay low for a while? Lay low, take it easy. Look at his medals. Oh, that wouldn't take long, yeah. Couldn't wait to get out of Ipswich when I was the manager, making all sorts of demands. Ironically, 2 or 3 years ago, when his career was in free fall and he had injuries, he went back to Ipswich on loan. Fantastic. I was laughing my head off. He missed the game. We got beaten at Wales. John played, didn't have a good game. Wardy played. They need to go back and watch some of these games back. Remind themselves how bad they were. John misses the game. I think we go to Turkey. He speaks to Martin. He needs to rest for the game because Ipswich are playing Hull away, mighty Hull, and misses the game with Ireland. And guess what? Ipswich got beaten up at Hull. And I think that might have been one of the last games John had because, again, whatever programme he was on wasn't working because he finished with a knee problem 2 years early. Will you be seeing John soon?
I've no idea. Probably not now, I suspect.
Oh. That's not my best to him.
I'll be sure.
Well, he promised to pay me a visit at my house a few years ago and I'm still waiting. And I gave him the address. Good old John.
You said there about the next step and a return to management that...
For who?
For you. And
From who said this?
No, you were saying just there about potentially returning, and you're not waiting for... You said this.
Yeah.
You're not expecting a call from Real Madrid anytime soon.
You never know. Gary got a call from Valencia.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the call. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the call from Manchester United.
Yeah,
Did part of you think You know what?
No,
Maybe.
Listen, that was never going to happen. Not with I think there's somebody still in the background there having a say. No, that was brilliant for Ollie. And again, in sport, you need a bit of luck, a bit of timing, and it was brilliant for Ollie. So would it be same with Lampard? I think goes into Chelsea at the right time. Neil Lennon goes back to Celtic. You need a few breaks in this game, and maybe I get an opportunity I don't think I feel I'm going to get. So please God, something might come up.
Do you intend on going out on your own now, or would you go back in somewhere with Martin?
No. I think obviously after in fairness, me and Martin discussed it many times when I was with Ireland. The role suited me at international football, and we both agreed even before Martin went up to Forest that it wouldn't suit me being assistant at club level. So when I went up to Forest, the plan was that again my contract would have sorted out that I'd probably just go up there till the summer just to try it. But I knew if I go back in the club, it's got to be the manager. Simple as that. But I had obviously a bit of loyalty towards Martin. I didn't think Martin would go so quickly after I left, but I knew after kind of a month or two that the assistant manager's role at club level didn't really suit me. It was fine with Ireland, that was no problem, because obviously you're not together every day, etc. But the club stuff, no, I definitely would have to go back in and be a manager.
And do you talked about the modern dressing room and all this kind of stuff. Do you feel like you have to hold your tongue when you go back in? Do you feel like you have to adapt the way you'd like to manage, the things you'd like to say to players?
But I'm intrigued by people who talk about my role in the dressing room, particularly people who've never been in the dressing room with me. It's amazing what people think I do in the dressing room.
Yeah.
I usually kill 3 people a week.
Yeah, that'd be the perception.
No, I'm fairly placid in the dressing room. Trust me. Huh? This image is hard to shake it off, I know. But you ask any of the players who've worked with me for a long time, even the lads at Sunderland who were there for a year or two, honestly, quite relaxed. Even my time at Ipswich, people kind of almost write me off because of that. But this plus at Ipswich. It's a slightly different role with Ireland, but enjoyed that. But this might surprise you though. Have I made mistakes? Yeah, of course I have.
Sure.
Gary was on about there, whatever industry you're learning, you're trying to obviously become better at it. But I don't think I need to move it so far away from what my traits are, because my traits have took me so far. But do I have to improve in certain aspects of my management skills? Absolutely. And I've made mistakes, but hopefully I'll learn from them. Strange enough, I'll probably make lots of more mistakes. But again, don't think for 1 second when I'm working with players in the dressing room or on the training pitch. Obviously, Gary made. I'm actually quite, believe it or not, relaxed when I'm working with players. Do I put demands on them? Of course I do, but I feel like it's kind of got to the stage where people say to me, I was very demanding. As if I should almost apologise for it, particularly when I'm in the coaching role. When people say, oh, the modern players don't like that. Yeah. But I'm not doing it all the time. If you're doing that every day, if Alex Ferguson didn't do that every day, people talk about the hairdryer. You just try and get the timing right, when to have a go at players. Whether at the time people thought I was having a go at John Walters or Harry Hart. Sometimes you're trying to motivate people, and sometimes you're motivating them. Sometimes you get it wrong. Some players enjoy that. They go, yeah, I enjoyed that heated discussion, whatever you might say. But again, obviously you've got to pick and choose. But other players react to it, and you go, I think you're, again, whether it be John and Harry at the time, or obviously Wardy wasn't there. Maybe the issue's you, lads. Because I sometimes would step back and go, did I get that drastically wrong with a situation at Sunderland, maybe at Ipswich? I go, maybe I did, but other things, maybe they got it wrong. Maybe they overreacted. Because sometimes when managers that I go with me, Brian Clough, these are great managers. Brian Clough, you're on about motivate. Brian Clough, and it's well documented, punched me after a game one night with Crystal Palace in the cup. I know it's laughing, it's funny. Brian Clough is a genius. Did I take it that badly off him? I just went, no, he was upset, he was heated, and he punched me. But I remember thinking, I still think you're a brilliant manager. And I came in the next day and I trained, and I didn't text anyone in the media or ring somebody or go on WhatsApp or Twitter, whatever they're going. I said, somebody punched me. I just went, the manager's upset. You take it. You take it. The players, you take it. So I'm not changing my ways for nobody.
Yeah. And if...
I'm learning.
Are you like bored around the house? Are you itching to get back in? Like if a job didn't come, what would the next 10, 20 years
I've been very lucky. I'm definitely, when I analyse my career, I'm one of the luckiest guys on the planet. I never get bored. I'm never at home going, I've always got something to do. Obviously, 5 children keeps you busy. I've got my couple of dogs, my wife. I get a few little bits of work, but I'm never bored. I'll keep myself busy. I go and see somebody, or I come back to Ireland quite a bit. Come down to Cork, watch matches. I go to Croke Park. I like watching rugby. Never get bored. I'm very lucky in my life. Honestly, I've no complaints. And this idea, I need to get back in the game because I might go stir crazy. No. I'm fine.
Would you ever move back to Ireland? Does that hope?
Yeah, I think so. I think I literally have that thought. I think every single day.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's always there. But I have to look at the bigger picture. Obviously, I got my family, but they're growing up now, and I think there's not a day goes by where I don't think, I'll eventually get back to Ireland, of course.
I know you've had an amazing time over in England, obviously. Is there ever a certain sadness when you think, geez, my age now, I spent more of my life away from home than at home?
Yeah, there is that. I think, obviously, when you get a bit older, people talk about getting homesick. Yeah, I get homesick every day, particularly for Cork. Yeah, it's really strange. So, but I also know that football in England's given me a great life, and it's given my family a great life, and my family in Cork. So I count my blessings for that. And I'm also only around the corner. It's not as if I'm in Australia, so I can get back to Cork. I do over particularly last few months, I suppose, when I'm kind of not working full. I love coming back on the boat. I have a bit of freedom. I answer to nobody. You're on about TV. I can kind of dip into TV, dip back out of it. And Jesus, honestly, I count my blessings. I'm very, very lucky.
Content.
I wouldn't go that far.
Would you not go that far?
It's a dangerous word to use.
Yeah, you always fight that off. Content. The comfort zone.
But I'm obviously worried about I don't want to get in the comfort zone either, where you think life's great and I just sit back and not do anything. You do have to keep yourself busy. As I said, I look at certain games, look at certain clubs where I think that club would suit me or whatever it might be. I don't sit around hoping for managers to lose their jobs. I don't.
Yeah.
But there are certain clubs I look at. I think I'd fancy maybe doing something with that group of players. But I also have to again, I go back to it. I might never get back. I might never get a job opportunity because when jobs come up, I very rarely, never get linked with jobs. So it's not as if I don't think clubs or chairmen or chief executives out there have got me at the top of their list. But what I would like to do, I suppose, sometimes is get an opportunity to speak to a club, even if they don't give me the job. I've been interviewed for jobs over the last few years and they've gone with somebody else, and that's fine. But you want to get a chance to try and sell yourself and look somebody in the eye, and obviously do well in the interview. So hopefully I'll get that opportunity in a few months, but I'm not fearful of it either. If it doesn't happen, I'll be fine.
Is the Ireland job still an ambition?
Who knows? The danger for me now, people talk about listen, it's unfair, because no matter what I say about the Irish job or the Irish situation, it's unfair on obviously Mick at the moment, or the manager, and Robbie, the people that leave them get on with it. I had a good crack off it, and let them see how they do, and good luck to them. And but if that ever came back around, who knows where I am in the pecking order. Funnier things have happened, but we'll see.
It's obviously set up for the next few years with Mick McCarthy now and then, this rather unusual succession plan where Stephen Kenny is coming in. One of many unusual things that have happened in Irish football over the past year.
Yeah, but that's just the way it is. Listen, let's see how that pans out. It might work out really well. Who knows? Again, one thing I don't think any of us can do in here is predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen with results or our own careers. So again, I don't go to bed every night thinking, I hope that job comes up or the Irish job comes up. Good luck to people and see how they're doing the job. And if they win football matches, they'll be fine. And if they don't, they'd obviously be under pressure like everybody else.
Have you followed what's going on in the FAI?
Do you know what? Not really. I suppose the only thing I can say about whatever's going on with the FAI but the last few years when I was with them, I loved it. I thought there were a lot of good people there. Obviously there's stuff going on now that I probably haven't got a clue about. But I loved my time there. Some really good people, some good staff. I know there's people in the background, genuine football and people. Whatever we say, football's a great game. So I've kind of stepped back. I've had my time there. There's no point in me getting involved, I suppose, in the politics of it. But you hope they get through it, and I'm sure they will. And everyone can learn from it, because, nobody's perfect.
To wrap up, or we'll be here pretty much all night. You said there stuff doesn't keep you up night. You referenced Saipan earlier, not getting into a he said kind of thing. Does that cross your mind? You mentioned you think of Cork every day. Would that cross your mind often at this stage? Is it still raw?
What could have happened or might have happened? I guess.
Not
really, no. again, I think it's important. People look at, if people look at the facts, people need the facts. The bottom line run about management, man management, dealing with players. If a manager is going to step up in front of a group of players and staff and make accusations against any player, whether it be me or Robbie or Duff or whoever it was, there's going to be trouble. Sure. There is. You're on about management and getting a group together. And again, I don't know how many games we played to qualify for the World Cup. Somebody might tell me in the audience or Google it or whatever. I think it might have been with the playoff games. I think it was out of 12 or 14. I think it was. How many? 14, right. I think I missed one match.
Yeah, it is.
I think I missed. Thanks, Mick. I think I missed one match. I think I did. Somebody might put me. I think I missed one match. And then on the eve of the World Cup, there's a meeting with all the players. Now, forget the kit and all that. That was all sorted out. I'm sick of repeating myself with all that stuff. That bit. And you're sitting with a group of players. You're flying on the next day. It's your official training. And there's a meeting called in front of everybody. And there's accusations made against me about missing one game in the whole campaign. You know, what are you expecting?
No, totally. It's such a loss for you to give up on that World Cup. Does any part of you ever think, oh, I should have played that World Cup and then just got the hell out of there?
This is a situation that I wish hadn't kind of panned out that way, of course. But again, I know it takes two to tango, and I have to look at my own part, of course. But I just think, well, I honestly, but like the United stuff, what was I supposed to say? You know, I missed one game, and the medical staff were involved in making this accusation against me in front. But definitely again pulled me 1-1. And this was on the eve of the World Cup. It wasn't 3 months earlier or 3 months later. We're flying out tomorrow. You put in front of all the group. Please tell me whatever. There's people in there who run businesses. I'd love to think, what do you think was going to happen when you make accusations against, I suppose, a character like me, whether it be a senior player or forget about the captaincy. I think if I was sitting there and mixed it up and made accusations against any of the other players, I'd be going, oh, where are you going with this? Well, you know, we're flying out tomorrow. What hang-ups have you got about all this carry-on? Yeah. So, yeah, no, I don't. That doesn't keep me awake. I think I was fortunate enough, again, I'd obviously played in the 94 World Cup. I've experienced the World Cup. I had a taste of it. And I kind of don't think the baggage from Saipan, I don't really carry it around with me.
Okay.
I think other people should carry it around with them, not me.
Did you carry it around with you for a couple of years? Did it take a couple of years to kind of dissolve away of it?
Yeah, I suppose there would have been I suppose the word I'd use would have been a lot of anger, I suppose, afterwards. Especially then afterwards, again, the usual spin-offs that come out of it. He said this, he said that, did it. Again, people getting sidetracked, I suppose, and getting brainwashed. But again, all people have to do is look at the facts. And that's it, and I'm comfortable with that. Again, if it was any other player, I'd be sitting there going, whoa, where's this going? Like Gary was saying, he was looking at the meeting with me and the manager and all the other, and you're looking sometimes, and that's where you hope sometimes people go, oh, put a stop to this. But it was, as soon as Mick started it, and I'm sure Mick would sit there and give his own. Sure. Of course he would. But for the players who were in there, and I know players have all kind of tiptoed around it, I wish one or two of the players would say something like, well, you did make an accusation against the player. What was going to happen? Yeah. I just said, no, Mick, I think you're on there, but I'll see you in the morning on the flight, you know.
Yeah. And there was no, like, at that stage, there's no chance of you going, well, we should talk about this privately. It's just like, you just see
again, I think if Mick or one of the other senior players are interrupted, but then there's an environment, again, I can't be criticising other people in the room. Because I think they probably would have been shocked by all of it as well. Yeah. Because again, it was strange enough. It was kind of the evening we had after a week from getting over there with all the trouble with the gear. We kind of obviously got through all that, like you do as a team, a bit like United. You have difficult spells, businesses, people fall out, but you kind of eventually get through, and you go, yeah, listen, we're better for that. But when this took off, you're looking, going, is someone going to interrupt this? And I think people again I think there would have been certain players there when, well, I don't really want to get, and I understand that as well. I don't think people should all step in. Yeah. They're probably saying, as long as I'm okay and I'm going to play in the World Cup. I understood all that. Yeah. Even the next morning they were all leaving, and I definitely think I certainly had a different relationship, no doubt in my mind, with the Irish players than I had with my United teammates who were day-to-day stuff. And a lot of the lads I played with Ireland over a number of years, I never really got to know them. And I suppose I wasn't really kind of that important to him, because when we stood up for Ireland, particularly in the early days, you'd obviously come in on a kind of Monday morning, the game was the Wednesday, so you'd leave after some international trips going, I didn't really speak to anybody in that sense, because you got training, you go back to your room, so I didn't have this kind of bond with the Irish players that probably thought and I had to remind myself when I was playing for Ireland what the game was all about, particularly at senior level, and people would sometimes question my character, he was a bit moody or resistant, which was all nonsense. I was there to win. I wasn't there to be pals with everybody, and I think that at the end, when it kind of backfired, nobody was going to come up to my room and go, please come back, Roy. They were like, if you're off, you're off. There's a selfish side to football as well. But then again, I think with my traits, as much as I knock myself, I've also played with captains, Kenny Cunningham, these people who were obsessed with being popular and kind of pals with everybody and obsessed with the media. You're going, yeah, but you're not going to try and win the game. No, just try and be pals with everybody. You're not for me either. You want your captains and leaders to be whatever's going on with them going, but I think they might help us to win the game on Saturday. So, but I won't get started on him.
I'm sure Kenny would defend himself.
Yeah,
and will.
You know, it blows up and you go home and it's this unbelievably huge story. Like here, I'm sure you got word of how big it was, and you're out and you're walking the dog, or then you're doing the RTE interview, and there's like a steel about you. There's no doubts. Just this front of someone. When you close the door behind you and you're in the midst of something like that, are you stressed, or are you thinking, oh my God, this is mad?
I think the stress and all the worry comes for the rest of your family, really, because I kind of knew, I was at the meeting, I knew what was said towards me, whereas other people were getting different stories, and he said that, and I'm pretty, well, I know, obviously it would have been hard for my family in Cork. I know that for a fact, of course. Put it this way, if my son was now playing for Ireland, and he went on a journey and played a lot of games and missed out on it, I know I'd be upset, even if he was saying, no, I can deal with it. I go, I know, but as a parent. Yeah. So I think my family would have suffered a lot more than me, because I knew what was going on, and I knew I keep saying I had to fight my corner. You do in life, sometimes situations come up where and I roll with a lot of stuff. You know, sometimes I go with this, I'm not going. But there's other times when people look you in the eye and you go, no, I can't accept that. And I think that's the way it is.
Well, you mentioned your daughter is here tonight, and they're all at an age now, I guess, where they're very much fully aware of your career and all the success you had. Did you have to go through a process with them where they're asking you, what happened there?
No, they've never really brought it up. I'll be honest. Well, I've got 4 daughters, so the girls are too busy with their makeup and stuff, so they wouldn't be. Well, I mean that in a nice way. You know, they kind of soccer's down there. They've got the Kardashians, they've got the hair, they've got, you know, all these programs, Love Island. That's their priority, not necessarily my career. And they were at a young age where they didn't have to take it too seriously. So my family I never kind of took my career or my football, I suppose, in a sense. It sounds strange, this. I think if you ever came to my house, you wouldn't think I'd been involved in sport. But football, I kind of always kept my family a bit distance from it. They never really came to many matches. And I kind of enjoyed that, because I also think when you're playing sport, maybe Gary will agree, you're kind of like an actor. You know, you are like an actor. You saw a picture up there, I had a skinhead, and you're going. Again, I always thought when I was going to play football, I was going to war. So I was fighting my corner, my livelihood. I wanted my family to have a good life, contract. I want my mum and dad to be good, and so you're fighting. You're like, so don't get distracted by all the kind of. And that's why a little bit when we were deporting with United, all the families are involved. I remember thinking, no, keep the families. It's great if you win something, get them involved, but. This is serious stuff. I've took football very seriously since I was 8 years of age. I've just been obsessed with it and trying to win. Maybe too much, I don't know. So I think my kids have always. I remember, you're on about loyalty with your kids and family. I remember saying to them, I never go, do you want to come to the game? They go, no, we're busy. But I think they came one time to a match at Ipswich. And I know Ipswich, they did. They came and they left, I think, after 40 minutes. I think we were 2-0 down. I remember I got home and I went, what's the game? And they went, no, we left, it was freezing. So that was their kind of loyalty towards me at Ipswich.
Gary, do you think everything you've listened to for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, do you look from the outside with our obsession, this country's obsession with Roy and talking about Roy? Do you find it all a bit insane?
It's not hugely surprising, actually, to be fair. Probably around 98, similar type of thing with David Beckham in 96 with Gaza. You think of the way in which Gaza was sort of 5-6 years, that obsession with sort of one figure, David Beckham, then the same. Wayne Rooney's had it in previous years. I think the country, it happens in other countries. Obviously, you know, Roy's hugely popular in Ireland and sort of a huge figure. So, you know, I understand it because ultimately I sort of lived it with other players, with England. You know, it was the scrutiny on players like Roy, like David Beckham, like Wayne Rooney, like, you know, Paul Gascoigne in '96 when he was a sort of superstar. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. They're judged all the time without, you know, they're judged by people essentially, as Roy just said, that don't know them, that don't understand them, and just, if you like, it's like I think the Sir Alex Ferguson hairdryer one is probably the best analogy. It doesn't describe the person of Sir Alex Ferguson. The idea that, you know, Roy was in the changing room sort of, you know, ranting at us is 0.5% of the time. You know, the 99.5% of the time was humour, thought, quiet actually. You know, it wasn't the noisiest in the dressing room. So you had people like David May in there, and, you know, some of the younger lads who were really sort of boisterous all the time. So you think about the fact that considered, you know, always thinking of having a cup of tea with Dennis. He's one of the only people you know,
Dennis Irwin, by the way.
No, but it's like, you know, I think there were only two people in the dressing room. I could have a cup of tea, like, you know, it's like my nan has a cup of tea, you know what I mean? But that was it, you know, they roomed together, they were both quiet, and then Roy obviously was a huge character, you know, came alive on the pitch, came alive in training. Yeah. But, you know, he had boundaries. He had boundaries, and to be fair, you had to, I think, my view on it was that I think the 5 or 6 young lads in the team, we got to know the boundaries quickly and early. And that's an understanding and awareness of the players that you're playing with. It's an understanding of where you could, you know, Nicky Butt had different boundaries than Paul Scholes, than Ryan Giggs, than Roy Keane. You had to understand the different characters within the team. You had to understand what sort of made them tick. And I think the most important thing is you had to be tolerant of each other. You had to be tolerant of each other in the dressing room. Everybody was different. And if you overstepped the boundary, not just with Roy, but with other players, it was going to be a problem. And there were times in the dressing room where I knew, you know, when he said before he was on the list and he joked, and there were times when we knew, as, you know, the lads, me, Giggsy, Scholes, you know, played with him for 5, 6, we knew when someone was sort of just like a woodpecker. We knew when someone was just because, you know, there was either something that he'd seen that he didn't like, something that he'd smelt, something that. But we knew that smell, we knew that scent, we knew that. Same with the manager. I don't think I ever, after 3-4 years of playing in the first team, I never was surprised by when he came in at half time and had to go at a certain player. I knew it was going to happen. You just got to know them, and I think my view on it was that there were times where you thought, oh, you've overstepped the mark there today. I think he particularly did once with me at Coventry. Very disappointed. And actually, it's the only time he's ever come up to me, only aggressively. You know, he came up to me like, proper angry, and I just, I'd just taken an extra touch. He wanted the cross in first time, and I just thought I might take a touch before I put it in. It's honestly true. No. But I remember turning round to him. His first statement to me was, "Cross the fucking ball first time." And I remember saying, "Fuck off," which, you know, wasn't particularly well taken.
No respect.
And to be fair, I knew that I was going to have a problem at half time.
Yeah.
But then, do you know something? On the Monday morning, I went up to see him. You might know, you probably won't even remember. One thing that I always thought that it was a problem was if you let things fester, with Roy particularly, you know what I mean? If it went one day without speaking to him, then 2 days, then 3 days, then 4 days. I saw players do this. And I used to say, you know, if that happened, I used to say, just go and speak. Just go and speak. I remember going up to speak to him on the Monday and it was fine. But I think because I think, you know, as a younger player, and I was a younger player at the time, probably 22, 23, you either let it fester and then it evolved into something that was bigger than it actually was, or you dealt with it there and then. And I think, you know, he had a similar situation with Giggsy, I think, at one point, and maybe other players, where there were moments where I actually remember once getting in one morning. Actually, to be fair, we were probably the first in the morning, like 8 o'clock or something like that. I remember him and Giggsy started an argument about 8 o'clock, and I was listening to it thinking, oh, this is not great. I'll go get my breakfast. I think it came down about 27 minutes past 8, and they were still going. I thought, oh, this is not going to go. But then they sorted it out after a couple of months or so, you know what I mean? A couple of weeks. No, but you know what I mean? There were moments that happened like that. But then there were certain players who didn't sort of, you know, that didn't, you know, it festered on and it moved on. It wasn't just Roy, by the way. There was other relationships in the dressing room where this happened. You know, Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham, and, you know, there were other relationships like this in the dressing room that you knew that the rest of the players, you just had to manage them. But it was usually because of lack of understanding, tolerance or awareness of where the boundaries were of each person. That's essentially what it was. And I personally, from a point of view, never had a problem with it. In fact, like I said before, I just looked at it quite simply. I never chose the teammates that I was in the dressing room with, but knew that I felt as though I had to get on with every player. I was that type of person that I felt as though I needed to, you know, not be friends. I was not friends with anybody, other than the lads that, you know, I was with. I wouldn't go out for a drink with any of them, the other lads that weren't sort of like, say, Phil or Bex or Scholesy or everything like that. But I felt as though there had to be that sort of, because I think in difficult moments, you know, in seasons, I did think the spirit was unbelievable. Our nights out were unbelievable when they happened. They were amazing. Christmas party, or the night in pre-season, or the night when we won the league. For me, people say what the best moments were in my career, were those moments. They're the things I miss, actually. They're the things I miss. I actually don't miss the football. I don't miss being in the change room. I don't miss the training. I do miss those moments of camaraderie, of where basically you're all going out together, you're having a good time, you're enjoying yourself, you've won a trophy, or you're basically a Christmas party. I do miss those moments. Roy would probably say something different. He might not miss those moments, but I did. I felt that, to me, that I felt sometimes in pre-season we go out on a night out and the team would come together and have the most unbelievable night. The spirit the day after in training, the day after, that was incredible. And I just thought, you know something, you can't beat that. I knew we were unbeatable because I knew full well we'd seen everything of each other, you know, falling over or being sick or whatever it was. You know, no, it was me as well, by the way. No, it's true. No, I remember once, to be fair, I think it was 18, 19, outside the Golden Rice Bowl on Cross Street in Manchester, lying down on the floor being sick. And I remember, to be fair, Bex and Ben Thornley and Chris Casper getting me home. And those things you think, but there were moments where you came together and you could tell those stories of each other for the next, you lived off those stories for the next 2 months in the dressing room with each other. That coming together of people whereby you just, and that's what made us, not what made us unbeatable, the football made us unbeatable, but I missed those moments, to be fair. And from a point of view of Roy's sort of the last 25 minutes, I've listened to a lot of this today. You know, he's told me a lot of stories today that I find compelling. Just compelling to listen to. He told me a story about Matty Taylor, trying to sign Matty Taylor for Sunderland. I thought it was amazing. I was laughing. I think you need to tell that story. I thought it was amazing, you know what I mean? I thought it was absolutely amazing, but he's actually, you know, talking about his experiences in management where, you know, similar experiences, to be fair, myself at Valencia and with England, and you just think, incredible experiences. I don't recognise sometimes, to be fair, the description of Roy Keane or David Beckham or Wayne Rooney. I don't recognise it actually sometimes. I don't recognise the actual description of them. I know there are moments where they may have done an individual thing, but actually from a point of view of the 99.9% of the time that I was with them during a football career, it isn't them. It isn't them as people. You know, Roy at home would be completely different than Roy maybe in the change room or Roy on the pitch, or same with all of us. And the scrutiny on these individuals is because they were the best players, the most famous players, the players who had the best story. You go back to George Best, you go back to all the players who've had great careers. They're the best players. They're the best players, and they're playing for the biggest club. a club that has an obsession in Dublin, in Cork, in Thailand, in Singapore, in Manchester, in London, everywhere. That's why Paul Pogba now is the obsession. Because he's the biggest player at the biggest club. He's a World Cup winner, and it should be a compliment that people are talking about him. I don't see it. When I criticise Paul Pogba, when I criticise Paul Pogba after the penalty incident at Wolves, I don't see it as being any different than the criticism of, say, Roy Keane or David Beckham or Wayne Rooney. The best player, the leader, the captain in the team will stand up and he will take the brunt of the criticism, just as the manager will and the coach will. It won't be the assistant coach, it won't be the left winger or the right back or the left back, it will be the player who is the number one player in the team. And that's never changed. It's not, you know, I'm sure Paul Pogba, you know, I speak to people and apparently he's a great lad, he trains well, he wants to, he's a really good person. I was at the club with him when he was a young lad. So when people criticise him or put the pressure on him or apply the pressure on him, it's because he's the best. He's the shining light. He's the Brian Robson of the 80s now. United are in trouble. People hung everything off Brian Robson. Everybody now hangs a lot off Paul Pogba. But that's the pressure that he wants. He wants to be the best player in the world. So now, go and show us that you're the best player in the world. Carry this team, which is young, inexperienced, hasn't got the most know-how, needs leaders and characters on the pitch. And I said 2 weeks ago, to be fair, on television, wouldn't it be great if he thought of himself as being the player of the year this year? The player of the year. What does he need to do that? Carry Manchester United into the Champions League, win the Europa League, drive them forward, take it as your responsibility. You're at this club for 12 months and you're going to be the best player in the league and one of the best players in the world. That's what I want from Paul Pogba. That's what I want from him, because I think he's capable of doing it. I have faith in him to do it. But then I see an incident like Wolves, and that disappoints me. So he has to take the criticism for that.
We've got to wrap this up, unfortunately. We've been way over time.
What about Matty Taylor's story?
Is it Roy? Matty Taylor?
Let me do that Matty Taylor story.
Go on.
Set me up for the fall here. It probably won't be as funny here as it was on the flight this morning. Up at Sunderland, blah blah blah, trying to get players up to Sunderland, always difficult. Their wives didn't want to go up there because they want to go shopping. Eventually get Matty Taylor up. He was leaving, I think, Portsmouth, and he had an opportunity, I think, to go to Sunderland or Bolton. So I met him at the stadium, up at the boardroom, gave him all the talk, about an hour or two. He said, I've got a lot to think about, it's a big decision. I said, of course, you take your time, huge decision. I'll walk you down to the car park. As we walked down, he said, listen, no, a huge decision, thanks for the chat. I said, yeah, you take your time, big decision, I understand, for your family, no problem. Bolton, Sunderland to Bolton is no comparison, but listen, Bolton were not a bad team at the time. I see him walking to his car. I said, listen, brilliant, thanks for coming up. I'm literally, he turned his back. I got a text. There's not many people text me. So I said, hi Royce, Matty Taylor. So I've got my phone. I think it was a BlackBerry at the time they were in, and I went, I can see him getting in his car. I've decided to go to Bolton. I'm waving him going out the car park.